What is going on, we back at it again. Some more Beyond Dragon Ball Super. You feel me? Merno's Resurrection. Last episode, you know what I'm saying? We got a lore thing, you know, with Raijin, Merno, the Dark Gods, and the Demon Realm. You know what I'm saying? Merno clapping demon cheeks throughout all this shit. But now it's time for Lord Raijin to enter chat. And let's see how he holds up against Merno. Feel me? If he do him like, if he could, you know what I'm saying, block one of them hits and whatnot, you know what I mean? He got it. He like that. He really like that for real. You know what I mean? But we're gonna see. We're gonna see. But anyway, hit it up with a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Over 3K. You know, subscribe. Right on Patreon, Twitch, and the gaming channel. Link in the description down below. Subscribe to Alex, my boy, to 2 million subscribers. Without further ado, let's dive on it. Oh, fuck is this low? Oh, it's my headphones.
As our story now continues, following the initial events of Angel Merno having to be shown against the Demon Realm, and specifically having to be shown going toe-to-toe.
Oh, he got a lick on that nigga.
Masters within the Demon Realm. It was only just moments prior with Raijin being shown having to insert himself upon having to recall the events of the battle involving Merno within the Demon Realm was when Raijin then went on to respond. All that had been riding on my ability to go and see my destiny.
He got a lick on that nigga.
Obtaining and combining all 3 configuration cubes had now ultimately led to this. For the sheer sight of Merno having to stand amidst the ruins of my Dark Masters in battle was both very infuriating and yet extremely enlightening, for it had ultimately become painfully clear to me upon seeing Merno overpower my Dark Masters that no ordinary measures would have been enough to go and stop such a being, as it was even before I had found myself in having to engage against him. I knew that although that he was the
Is he watching his son right now, bro?
Engaged against at the time, the angelic.
Is he pulling a Nolan? This nigga hit, bro. Hands behind his back, bro. You just seen your son get hit with an uppercut.
Warrior known as Merno, whom we stood against and having to battle within the Demon Realm, still wasn't perfect, or at least from what I was able to gather together, he wasn't quite as flawless as he was shown when compared to before he was destroyed, and that was where I knew that I could ultimately break through his defenses and tag him, and it was only upon having to finally confront that wretched angel for myself was when I then began to understand the nature of what this angel was like in battle, because even while I stood as the mightiest among our kind and the strongest within the Demon Realm, Raijin continues, my strength along with my magic simply wasn't going to be enough. But even while I knew that taking this angel down wasn't going to be as easy as it was when compared to when I had annihilated his rookie siblings before him, I still decided to go and engage against Merno anyways, just so that I could see as to what I could ultimately exploit upon having to battle this mighty angel for myself. And while I was given the edge within those moments by feeding off of the dark energy that encompasses our Demon Realm, Raijin continues upon being shown uppercutting Merno in the face, I further went on to use these moments to my advantage to channel my strength along with my magic to its highest in order to finally catch that angel by surprise.
Hey,
as
you got licking.
And as hard as I was shown having to smash my way into this angel, Raijin continues, there was
that's more than most, fam.
Creature that I just couldn't go and put my finger on within those early moments, but it was only while that rotten father of his was shown having to watch from above was
you knew he was there, huh?
On why this Merno was different, Raijin continues, and more importantly, I then began to see on why the Grand Minister had decided to not go and
that's crazy. So even if you got past this nigga, he was right there waiting. Even if you somehow got past him, he was right. What's the move, nigga?
What my true intention was, and little by little throughout that fight I started to see on why. And as even while I knew that upon having to battle against Merno, that if he had fallen in battle here against me, then surely the Grand Minister would ultimately be bound to intervene, which ultimately as an end result had placed me at a significant disadvantage against them, since I was the only one left who could oppose them, to which as young Raijin was then shown,
aka you're cooked, buddy.
When young Raijin then went on to respond, "You spineless creature, did you really think that by sending this angel here to stop me will actually be what works within your favor? For your very arrogance is boundless, but your cowardice is even greater, you swine. For all you managed to do here was ensure this angel's destruction, and so delaying the inevitable will only get you so far, but
I don't know about that, Raijin. Merno and sweet.
My wrath next, and you can make no mistake about the fact that I am going to make you suffer for ever daring to come and wage this war here against me, you little worm." But then it was only from within that very moment, as the angel Merno was shown having to jump right back into the fight by punching Raijin in the face, was when Raijin's recap went on to then continue.
Got his get back.
To go and address that coward minister in forewarning him for the dangers that will come, and I was too careless to have went and taken my eyes off that angel, because although I knew that he was very responsive in combat, and I wasn't expecting for him to be as fast as he was to continue our battle, even after I had attacked him the way I did prior.
Caught your ass lacking.
While he had went and attacked me, I could sense a very strange but yet very familiar darkness that was beginning to come from somewhere deep within his very spirit, as it was this very feeling that I had then began to sense coming from deep within him is what intrigued me the most, Raijin continues. But even with my power having to rival and even surpass that of many gods of destruction, I still wasn't formidable enough to truly do the damage that I had intended on creating onto Merno. My magic and the energy that my magic had been feeding off of, however, within the demon realm was what kept me
locked in
against Merno, for it even went on to sidetrack the angel the longer we continued to engage, which was exactly what it was that I had needed. And while the angel continued to display feats of strength that went far beyond my own, Raijin continues, and I still made sure to go and keep a very
you caught his shit though,
which was all that I needed in order to study the way he fought. And while he continued to fight with an iron fist and doing what his father had ordered for him to do, and I still went on to make sure that even while he may have held the advantage for a brief moment out here against me, that I too had been watching and growing stronger myself as a result of our battle, which had even gone as far as to take the angel back by surprise, because as I went on to watch those who
now can you get a second lick in?
I, on the other hand, had refused to go and suffer the same fate as they did. And as even while I had went and refused to give in and allow for this angel to seize this opportunity here against me, the shadow that I had sensed that was hidden beneath his divine brilliance was slowly beginning to stir, and as we continued to clash, I continued to feel it growing stronger with every blow that was exchanged. And as although I wasn't able to understand it at first, I knew that it was there buried deep within his very soul, which was ultimately just waiting to go and make its presence known here against me. And for a moment, while I questioned on whether my senses were deceiving me, and I only then began to ask on could it really be that the so-called perfect angel had carried within him a darkness that was similar to our own within the demon realm? For had it been possible that what it was that I was sensing had been something far more sinister than what the angel was allowed to reveal? For could it really be that the firstborn son of the Grand Minister was harboring a prideful and
heir to the throne
that was reflective to that of my own? And while at first I couldn't go and believe for this feeling to be true, as our battle continued and the more we fought, the more
I keep going look that evil, man. What
what
happened? What happened?
With every ounce of anger and hatred within
Oh shit, he
my
got a
heart
second
for
lick
this
in. Use
time
headbutt.
and it was only then upon that very moment during the middle of our battle was where I began to see it for myself. And as it was only within this very brief moment here against Merno was where I then began to see his form begin to slowly change, as well as having to see his aura flickering with some kind of an otherworldly darkness that was reflective to our own. As it was only upon having to then see this with my very own eyes was where I knew that my suspicions about this angel had been correct with what I was beginning to sense coming from him all along. And as once I had this moment to go and see this for myself, Raijin continues, was when it all finally dawned upon me on why the Grand Minister had kept the knowledge behind what I was truly after by using the configuration cubes away from Merno. And his very reasons for having to do this was because deep down within Merno's heart, similar to that of us demons here, Raijin says, Merno's very soul had been tainted tainted with rage, and along with this rage came a prideful resentment towards the very hierarchy which he fought to protect, and as I knew right then and there that this angel was by no means pure, and while I saw this opportunity as a way to try and sway Merno's mind into joining our ranks, Raijin continues, there was still but a very small part of him that had remained loyal to the throne, and so why destroy what can be used to conquer? As it was only even after I had realized this revelation for myself, I knew that I just had to go and try, but even while I did, the angel would not give in, Raijin continues.
Nah, it's too early, fam.
I tried to deter him
Not
from his
yet.
orders, which had ultimately then resulted in the battle having to carry on, for not only was this a moment of weakness for the angel in attempting to do anything and everything he could to try to mask himself from his father, and I just knew within my guts that this too wouldn't last, as I had then realized right then and there that the so-called neutrally divine beings weren't so incorruptible after all. I never would have expected to have the angel later turn against his own kind in attempting to set off a revolution that would nearly go on to destroy the entire multiverse. What I did, however, know was that whatever this power was that Merno had been harboring was undoubtedly a power that I just had to go and wield for myself. And even
He ain't
though
got the
I
triangle yet on his forehead.
had
a little outline.
To Merno, his undying loyalty to that pathetic Omni King and
I love that stance though. That shit's so fucking hard, man.
For me to go and try to break away, and thus our battle continued, Raijin says. And as even while I continued to attack, I also watched very
Put them
carefully
hands
as
up.
his frustrations were beginning to take over, and while his father may have not realized it within that moment, I, on the other hand, did. And more than anything, while I hated the idea of ever having to side myself alongside another angel, Raijin continues, I knew that if I were to somehow find a way to go and turn that angel against the Grand Minister, then the chances of my victory would have been guaranteed. But since Merno was too naive at the time to have realized on what it was that I had been offering him during the course of our battle, my attempts to go and get him to turn himself over in joining us had proven to be unsuccessful, Raijin continues. And after seeing that there was no other way in having to have me warp his mind into joining us to destroy the Grand Minister, I only then had made my decision that if I was going to go down against this angel during this battle, Raijin continues, then I wasn't going to go down without having to take a very large part of both of them with me during the process. But before I was ready to go and unleash the full extent of my demonic magic, it was only just then during that time where I had just so happened to have overheard that wretched Grand Minister go and give Merno some kind of order here against me, Raijin continues.
I got the triangle.
Make his move upon being given the order by the Grand Minister, it started to become very obvious on what he was planning on doing here against me, because with Merno given the
about to be locked up, they won't let you out. They won't let you out. You're locked up.
I had sensed the trap beginning to formulate around me, and I wasn't able to respond fast enough to avoid the dangers that I was hereby placed in, and it was only here where I had learned that not only do these mighty angel warriors wield incredible battle power if given permission to go and use it during combat, but it was only here where I had then realized that there was nothing that I could hope to try and do that would liberate me from the chains that Merno had placed around me. And even while I struggled, both my rage and my hatred for these angelic creatures knew no bounds, for all I wanted to do from that moment onwards
powerful
was to go as
Sith.
far as to free
You
myself
will
of
become.
these chains that were placed upon my body and tear their heads clean off their bodies, Raijin says.
God damn, nigga. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Raijin. Let's go.
But no matter how hard I tried to go and break free from what was about to go and happen to me, there was nothing that I could have done within that moment in time that would have made the difference that I was hoping to make.
No, dead ass. Ain't nothing you would have done, bro.
I struggled to break free from the chains that had bound me. Merno's power was simply too strong for my magic to have any kind of effect on, which had ultimately left me with.
I mean, you got 2 hits in, so
Merno's bind on me didn't just stop there, for the Grand Priest had feared me so much so show that even while
You got something in them, you know what I mean?
they were afraid that I would go and find a way to escape this metal prison, and as such, the chamber that they had went and imprisoned me in was no ordinary prison, but it was rather a construct of angelic design that was embedded with angelic power that even I couldn't break loose from, as it was Merno himself who had forged the very seal that had kept me bound, for it was but a web of light and power that had cut me off from the demon realm and away from everything that I had worked generations to construct, and yet even while trapped inside, I could still sense their fear of me having to radiate from the outside. And with Merno having followed the Grand Priest's every order without question, Raijin continues, he only further then went on to not only seal me away within a prison that was designed to break even the strongest wills within it, but little did they know that my will cannot be so easily broken. And to only further ensure my defeat within this metal chamber,
that's how he got so goddamn evil.
Magic and putting me into a deep slumber. It was only then where I knew that there was no escape, and while fear is a poor foundation for victory, Raijin continues, they may have thought that they had won, but all they did was delay my inevitable return, Raijin says. The Grand Minister could have ordered to go and end my life when he had
dead
the
ass.
chance, but if he had gone as far as to go and make such a move, then the very balance between both the living worlds and the demon realm would have been thrown off sync, which would have ultimately have resulted in catastrophic consequences without my presence in keeping the demon realm stable and away from imploding. And to only further avoid in having to go and upset the balance of the entire multiverse by destroying me prior to having a demon god take my place, Merno had finally at long last laid his claim and victory over me by locking me away and sealing off the demon realm completely and making sure that we would never rise to overthrow the powers that be, never to be shown having to be freed from that wretched prison ever again. But after seeing what I had saw that came from Merno, Raijin continues, I knew that one day his true nature would have been revealed, as there would have been no way that the Grand Minister would ever stand to allow for such a force like Merno and his corruption to ever exist.
No
as it was
dead
only
ass.
Since that time, for thousands of millennia, I was forced to simmer within that wretched chamber.
See,
as
now
my
he look
rage
fucking
continued
evil.
to fester and my hatred growing deeper and deeper as time went on. But even now, while going and reflecting upon my imprisonment fills me with a rage that words cannot capture, Raijin says. To be caged the way I did and to be silenced the way I was is a disgrace that I will vow to erase with both fire and fury, in making sure that such a failure as the one that was shown is never to be repeated and have happened to me ever again, and especially so as long as I am freed. And even though I am no longer within the prime of my power, Raijin went on to then look down on his hand by then responding, I only vow that this too will not last forever, for I will forge into my very being and establish a power so great that there will be no angel that will ever be able to overthrow me as they once did, and I will.
You could wish yourself to become younger again.
Any and all measures that I would need to in order to have this become a reality, as I cannot run the risk of having anything go and stop me here for a second time, as it may end up being my last if I am not careful with my approach, Raijin continues. And while my magic along with my power remains stable, I ultimately intend on plunging the multiverse into total darkness, which will require a power far beyond my current standing if I hope to turn this vision into a reality as well. And while I wait for the Dark Masters to go and do what needs to be done to secure my reign and becoming the one true God King of the multiverse, Raijin continues, this will be where you, both my elite demons and those who rank beneath you, will go and serve their purpose. And unlike Merno, Raijin continues, why simply go and rush when I intend on making this slow and painful for all of them to experience? As the elite demon Garlock went on to then respond, but my lord, what if the other angels try and go and stop you from reaching your goals a second time, my master? How will we go about by making sure that they are not to stand in your way again? With Raijin responding, well, it's simple, because once I have what the Dark Masters have been ordered to go and do for me, even the angels themselves will no longer pose as being any kind of threat to me with the power that I will be wielding, which is also exactly why my plans are to not be jeopardized no matter the cost. With the elite demon Kaima having to then chime in, then this too shall be, Master Raijin, for we will go and stake our lives in making sure that the demon realm reigns supreme over the living worlds, no matter what it takes, even while at the expense of anyone anyone and everyone who dares to go and stand within our way of absolute domination, as I promise to go and bring your worlds to its knees as a tribute to your honor, Master Raijin, with Garlock responding, yes, as I also second this notion, Lord Raijin, for I will go on to make sure that our armies continue to grow stronger and more powerful along the way, all at the same time while also bringing to you new warriors
which one is
just
Garlock?
as dark and just as ruthless as we are to aid us, with Raijin responding, good, for I expect nothing less while trusting that you will go and do what is directed of you both to go and do, as I will be watching you all very closely in the meantime. And so whatever it is that you go and do, and no matter what it is that you go and come across, you will do everything within your power to ensure that this is done. Do you both understand?
The first
the same
universal
the rest, and so you
demon
will stake your lives to see
empire.
that everything goes according to my very command, for Universe 7 isn't going to be the only universe that will suffer, Raijin continues, and as they will simply go on to serve by being but the beginning of a cascade of horrors that will bring the rest of the multiverse down to its knees, and then one by one, as they each start to crumble, their champions will be destroyed and their gods will be silenced. This is the destiny that I have set into motion, and you are all going to serve as being my ultimate instruments within my grand realization, Raijin says. And so now go and leave no remnants of hope behind in your wake as Universe 7 falls, Raijin continues, for it is but the first of many steps forward that will bring me ever so closer towards my ultimate goal of absolute dominion. And so now go and destroy their champions, desecrate their sacred grounds, and sow despair among their hearts while you go and search for new recruits to
Sacred
go and join
grounds.
our ranks in the meantime. And if the resistance proves to be far greater than expected, Raijin continues, then call upon the Dark Masters, as they will go on to ensure victory where you cannot. But if you fail to do so as I command, then understand that you will never know peace no matter how far you travel, and no matter where it is that you go
This
and
nigga.
try to hide from me, demons.
God damn,
I will
bro.
not tolerate anything less than succession during your missions, and so this will be your first and
I would've been
only
quit.
warning from me, Raijin says. Do not falter, do not waver, and do not give in to turning yourselves over into giving any of them what they want, and that is because if you do, then you will be destroyed. And so now go and do what must be done while I wait, demons. To which it was only then, just upon with Raijin being shown having to give out the order, with both Kaima and Garlock being shown having to be sent off on their missions, was when Raijin then went on to continue, yes, good, and now that the pieces are all starting to slowly come together within my favor, very soon under my command, there will be no gods, no angels, and no mortal warriors who will ever dare to oppose me ever again. And as my
I feel you.
utopia will be forged from the ashes of their resistance, and once I go on to merge the demon realm with the very fabric of the multiverse itself, only then will the barriers that separate us no longer be what binds my law, Raijin continues. And what's even more is once I am able to go and see inside those configuration cubes after assembling all three into one, then not only will I only then go on to see on what lies beyond on the other side, but no longer will the Grand Priest or his wretched angels ever hold sway over existence as they have while under the rulership of those cursed Omni Kings ever again.
We'll
And
see.
what's even more is once the Dark Masters have followed through in granting me my wish in merging Merno's angelic power with my very own and amplifying my strength far beyond my previous limitations, only then, when that moment
God.
comes, will be the very second where I go on to transcend far beyond anyone's ability to go and do anything to stop
Demon
me.
and
But even
angelic
now, I must be
together?
careful with how I take my approach moving
Yeah, that's it.
forward, because one wrong misstep and it could end up costing me everything that I've been striving for, and especially by gathering and merging all three configuration cubes before it's too late, because whatever secrets lie beyond these realms, Raijin continues, are pieces of information that only I must obtain, for I must learn more about the secrets behind those Omni Kings, along with their origins and how they can be destroyed without ever having to stand in my way ever again. Which is also why I want to know on if those old rumors that have echoed throughout the shadows of this supposed Omni paradox is to be true or not, because if anything were to go and happen, then all must be done to ensure my reign even at the cost of risking one's own life in order to see that my mission is at long last complete, as even while there are still those who may still go on to pose a significant threat to me as I am at the moment, once the Dark Masters are to finally go and have my wish be granted is when the tables will finally turn, Raijin continues. And so while I will go and wait until they have given me the word that my wish has finally been granted, only then will I resume my mission and see it until the very end, until it is all finally
gonna have his power.
For the Angel Merno was
y'all not y'all have no new forms.
Would be willing to go on and still stand.
The only nigga that has a new form is Gohan and his beast, and that still ain't gonna do shit. If the nigga, it's like you gonna be fighting Merno 2.0. You feel? Because he gonna have demon powers too. But also this nigga's powers. Y'all cooked, bro.
In the way of my plans, but they
y'all
too all soon be dealt with, as I must not go on to underestimate anyone until this is done, and that is exactly what I intend on doing. But nevertheless, for what it was that I had seen within you before, Raijin continues upon being shown having to reflect back on Merno and smiling, will ultimately become mine for the taking, fallen angel, for you should have sided with us here when you saw that you and I were not so much different from one another after all. But no matter, because while I knew that you would ultimately fail due to your sheer arrogance having to blind you from the truth of the bigger picture that you weren't able to see, I, on the other hand, will not go and make the same mistakes as you once did. And once I may claim
none dead ass. You on the right track.
You yourself had nearly used to destroy the entire multiverse.
The main two ops are out the way.
Go on to have what I've been longing for, as all life throughout each corner of every universe will bend their knee to my will, as it was
bend the
right
knee
now during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Merno sequel manga chapter.
I see, nah. This is an evil motherfucker right here.
Chapter number 19 special then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here.
Damn, that was quick. Shit. Wonderful beach. Ooh, yeah, see, he got that licking. Demon, and he gonna come pop. Fine, demon, demonic shit, angel. Oh my God, see, you don't have a new form. You feel me? Oh my God, some baby girl. You don't have a new form. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all niggas are cooked. And you know what's crazy? I wonder what would Alice give him? But this is before, you know what I'm saying, Ego. You know, when Merno came out, this was way before Ego. So yeah. What would he give him? You know? Like, I don't know. Super Saiyan 4 blue? Some shit like that? I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, anywho, these niggas cooked. These niggas are cooked. They're not training, nothing like that. They sparring, but they ain't gonna do nothing for them niggas. You know what I'm saying? What sparring gonna do? As soon as this nigga gets Merno's power inside of him, pause. It's up. Again, Merno 2.0. Dead ass, bro. You're gonna be worse than Merno. You know, because he a demon. It's up for y'all, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Unless they could squeeze something out of the time chamber. I know they've been training too. I mean, Goku, to be fair, Goku did the war training at the beginning of this shit. So to be fair, okay, yeah, there was training. Like, no new forms. You know, the Dark Masters just shat on Goku earlier in the manga too. So it's like, you know what I mean? Then the Shadow Demons too on top of that, the Shadow Demon version cells was like, ah, shit. And you know, Shadow Demon Beerus coming soon enough. They got his blood samples. Same thing with Piccolo and Gohan. So and probably even more across the multiverse. They probably put up on Jiren, maybe Popo, maybe Hit. You know what I'm saying? Baby girls. They probably did that shit. You know? So these niggas might be cooked. You said, but we're gonna see how this shit. Oh God. Oh yeah. I forgot they're looking for Frieza too. A dark nigga, and that's Frieza. So yeah, I can't wait to see how that shit play out too. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you for watching. You guys enjoy this reaction. Hit the video up with a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Road to 3K. You know, subscribe. Follow on Patreon, Twitch, and the Gamer channel. Link in the description down below. Shout out to Alex, get my boy to 2 million subscribers. You feel me? But yeah, love y'all. See y'all next one. Peace.